All right, so we are going to get started now. This is being recorded, so for those who miss it, everyone here who signed up is going to get an email with this recording, and then for those who want to just reference it, you'll get the recording anyway. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. For those who are in U.S. time, it is morning, and then for everyone else, again, good afternoon and good evening to you all. Thank you so much for your time for being here. Um, Today we're going to go over just some information about Offsite and who we are and what to expect for those who are still interested um, in this programming that's about to start next week. But a little bit about Offsite. We've been around for about 5 years. 2026 is actually, we're entering our sixth year. And so these numbers are numbers from this past summer. So we got to kind of bump those up a little bit because we've had a fall cohort. But in the last 5 or so years, we've been able to have about 14, and now this spring is going to be our 16th cohort, and we've had over 900 plus students come through our programming. And yeah, it's super rewarding to do this type of work, to offer these type of resources and platforms for you all. But yeah, we're excited to welcome you to this new era of industrial design education, and that's essentially what our goal is to just kind of disrupt this space and provide you with some with a platform that's actually going to help you evolve and elevate your work so that you can actually get employed. Um, but let me give you a little kind of recap of who we are here at Offsite with this little video that we created quite some time ago, but it gives you a really good idea about what the community is here at Offsite, what to expect, and it's very much condensed in a 45-second video. So here it is. All right, so like I said, welcome to Offsite. It's a pleasure to have you all here, and to really get to learn a little bit about our exceptional programming that we have going here in the spring, that starts next week. And a little bit about Offsite. We started, like I mentioned, about 5 years ago, and we started with these 5 courses here. And we just wanted to offer just better courses than what you get in school. Myself, as a professor of design in traditional academia, I know what schools offer, but most importantly, I know what they don't offer, and that is something that we really wanted to emphasize here at Offset when we launched it in September of 2020. And ever since, this program has been just continuously evolving. We've been adding more classes. We've been just reiterating on the current courses that we offer, and just seeing what gaps we can fill so that our students can go and get employed. So, um, like I said, we're very excited for you to be here. And today you're going to get to meet a couple of our instructors and a couple of our alumni. And feel free, again, if you have those questions, we'll be able to answer them at the end of this little lecture that I have here for you. But our instructors are amazing because they aren't just teaching you the best design education in industrial design that you can get, but they are actually working professionals. Um, they're actually working in industrial design every day, and they teach you exactly that. So I'm very excited for you to meet them. You're going to meet only a couple of them. Um, Unfortunately, I guess because they're working professionals, we're at the mercy of their schedule. But you'll hear from two of our instructors today and a couple of our alumni. So you'll get to meet them. But let me kind of go through a little bit. Let me highlight a couple of our alumni because our alumni really is what makes our programming exceptional here. Um, and because this is an online community, it is very important that we really work towards that community so that you can have the best experience here at Offsite. So you're not only just taking classes, but you're also engaging with instructors, you're engaging with classmates, and yeah, and so the here at Offsite we don't give you a grade, we don't take your attendance. You're here because you want to be here. And Our marker for success is that you use the resources that we give you so that you can update your portfolio and we can actually help you kind of move that needle towards your goals, or if you're looking for an internship, or whether if you're for those who are pivoting into industrial design, or for those who are in industrial design and they are just trying to get a new job, or trying to get a promotion. Whatever your goal is, our job is to kind of help you get there. But it does have to come from you, right? Like we obviously can't read your mind, and it does have to come from you. And but know that our team and our instructors do bring, they will bring it, and it really comes down to what is it that you want to accomplish while you're here with us. But here is some work that was done by one of our alumni who took a variety of our courses here, and she's based in the Bay Area, and she's an industrial designer there. And then here's another one of our alumni who actually went through our programming, and after a couple of seasons with us, we were able to help him get employment at Whipsaw, which is a San Francisco design agency in the Bay. And now he actually just left that job. He was there for about a year, and now he has another job, which is very exciting. But it's super fulfilling to kind of experience this because we're constantly talking to designers, design managers, hiring managers, people in industry. We're constantly speaking to them about, who are they looking for, what type of designer are they looking for, what type of work are they looking for in their portfolio, and that really allows us to, implement that in our courses so that you can pre- get, really prepare for that. So this is a little bit of his work, but once you come into our community, we have a vast amount of alumni that can tell you their story. Everyone has a different story of how they got there. And so I'm going to highlight a couple of courses here. One of the courses that I want to highlight is our visualization course called Workflow. And in that course, we collaborate with Keyshot, and we give you a license that you use during the duration of your time here at Offsite. And in this course, we'll teach you how to elevate your visualization skills. This is in the Offsite Pro tier. Um, and Yeah, so we're very excited about this because, at the end of the day, it's great to have, fantastic ideas, but it's also very important for you to bring them to life using a variety of different tools. Another course that I want to highlight is Sketch Methods. That is also part of Offsite Pro. And in this course, the instructor is going to walk you through a variety of different methods on how to use sketching to communicate your ideas to different stakeholders. Now, if you're not a part of Offsite Pro, that is okay because we have um, similar classes in our offsite student tier, except that they're more for introductory for those who are coming into industrial design. But they do essentially the same thing. We have a digital tools class that's going to help you with CAD and rendering, and then the basic sketching course that I teach is essentially a similar class to this, but more of an introduction to industrial design. So here's a little bit of the student work that comes out of those courses. And let me walk you through about what Offsite looks like, because we are an online platform. And so I want to give you, an idea of what that looks like. So we use Slack for everything. Slack is essentially our communication hub, and we have dedicated channels for each course. And once you become part of our Slack, you'll get an invitation. And what you see here is mostly like a admin version, because this is a screenshot of my Slack. So I have a lot of channels, but yours is probably going to look a lot cleaner if you're part of one cohort. As you can see, my channels go all the way back to when we started in fall of 2020. But um, this is how we communicate with our instructors. This is how you engage with the class. This is how you communicate with your classmates. And this is how you communicate with us, the team. So we actually have a team called the Experience Team. Um, and their job essentially is to listen to your needs. If you have any questions, any concerns, or if you just have any ideas on how to make Offsite better, guess what? Our experience team is there to listen to your concerns, to listen to your ideas, and their job is to make your experience here at Offsite exceptional. Um, all of our courses are virtual. They're designed to be synchronous and asynchronous. So if you have the opportunity to attend them live, and very much like you see here with our instructor, that's fantastic, because you get to engage with the instructor, you get to engage with your classmates, and you get the content then and there in the moment. But they're also recorded. So if you have a full-time job, or if you just attend them live and you want to reference them later, you will get a copy of this forever. This doesn't go away even after you leave. All of this information is yours to keep. Yeah, all of the classes are all recorded. So again, they're designed for asynchronous and synchronous viewing. Um, and then all of your courses are all, we have a very tight kind of workflow here. We use Google applications. So we'll use, again, Google Meet, we'll use Google Calendar, we'll use Google Drive for everything. And then last but not least, we have a private server here with YouTube, where all of your courses will be there. So then you'll be able to access them quite easily. So if I were to recap this, again, we use Slack for communication. We use Google Meet for all of our courses, Google Drive for you to access assignments and lectures, and then we have YouTube, where you can get your playlist, and then Google Calendar, so that it's going to go, so that you get notifications when it's time for a class and stuff like that. And in that Google Calendar, you'll have the links to the classes. Yeah, that's a little bit about Offsite. Let me show you one more video about a student's experience who went to design school, and that just wasn't enough, and so she came to Offsite, and we've been able to kind of work with her. But here you go.
Everyone has a very different path to discover design. I had a different one. I did chemical engineering in my undergrad and then did MFA in design for my master's. Both of these things are on opposite spectrum, one being very technical, the other being very creative. Offsite was a way for me to bring both these things together. It was basically bringing the technical side as well as the creative side and merging it as industrial design. I felt I had some gaps in my education, and that is where Offsite came in and filled those gaps. I'm Shivangi Chaharia, and I'm an industrial designer based in the Bay Area. My focus in industrial design is in consumer technologies and branding and strategy. So I did my MFA in design at California College of the Arts. In my master's program, we only did a little bit of technical stuff and then a lot of creative art stuff. For me, I realized that that was not enough industrial design experience for me. So having that 3 year of education or creative background and merging it with Offsite, where I had 3 months of on-spot education focused specifically on industry needs, was very helpful and very productive for me. The courses at Offsite were very much focused on creating a design workflow that can be actually used in the industry. So, for example, courses like real-world sketching, product visualization, business and manufacturing, design for manufacturing, all these courses were very much helpful and already gave me an understanding on how a studio or a design consultancy might work. It's definitely worth your time as well as money because it's just 3 months of your time, but you get to learn so much. I feel I did do my 3 years at university, but I learned so much more in my 3 months at Offsite.
All right, so yes, those videos are super cheesy, and yes, they're a little scripted, but the good thing is I actually have alumni here on this channel, and you can ask them anything you want. They are not being paid to say what they're going to say. So feel free to be super honest and transparent with your questions. And so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and you're going to be able to meet alumni and a couple of instructors, and we'll make some intros. And we're just going to open it up for Q&A and we'll go from there and then we'll wrap it up. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so we have here two of our instructors. We have Dominic Montante, who teaches our manufacturing course, and we have Spencer Nugent here, who teaches our discourse and digital tools course, along with other courses that are only offered in the fall, like Sketching 2 and Digital Tools 2. But I'm going to have them do just quick intros of who they are and where they work in, what spaces they work in, and about their courses, and then I'll have a couple alumni do the same. So I'll kick things off. I'll have Spencer go first and then Tom. So,
All right. Hello. Thanks, and apologies on being late. For those who know me, know that I'm pure chaos. Thanks for being here and bringing your questions. I work as a designer in Salt Lake City, Utah, originally from Jamaica. Working independently right now, so everything from packaging, prototyping, furniture, consumer electronics, and hopefully medical. Just sent in a proposal, so we'll see. But yeah, training in industrial design, love creating, making stuff, asking questions, thinking, all the activities related to design. Um, so yeah, look forward to your questions. Dom.
Well, thank you, Spencer. Hey guys, I'm Dom. I'm an industrial designer. I have my own design studio as well. I do a lot of similar work actually. Do work in consumer electronics, been doing a bit of furniture, a lot of housewares goods, and hopefully in the scientific instrument space. So we'll see how that one goes. Um, and I'm based in Colombia, is in the country. And my design studio spans designers in Colombia, Argentina, and Mexico. So I spend a lot of time in Latin America. But yeah, I teach manufacturing. And so my question for you guys is, do you think that you guys could design and get this toy car manufactured based on your current knowledge? And you can just say yes or no in the chat.
all
But the
right,
idea is you may not know now, but if you take my class, you will. And so yeah, that's my intro. So
fantastic.
open
Thank you
any
so much.
questions from you guys.
All right. Thank you, Spencer, and thank you, Dom. And I'm going to have two of our alumni introduce themselves, and then we can actually have a little bit of discourse here and have conversation and answer questions. So we have Julie here and we have Jasmine, and they're both on opposite sides of the country here in the United States. I'm going to have Julie introduce herself first, and then I'll have Jasmine go next.
Hi, I'm Julie. I'm on the experience team for Offsite. I originally did Offsite back in spring of 2021, and then I've taken some electives since then. and I currently work as an industrial designer at a small design firm in California. And we'll soon be doing SAMF and trend forecasting.
Hi, I'm Jasmine. I actually have transitioned from software engineering to industrial design. So I had been taking offsite for the past almost 2 years when I had decided to quit software engineering, and then I am now about to start working in industrial design in New York. So been pretty crazy.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for the introductions. And again, for those who are here, if you do want to start asking questions, for some reason, if you're watching this because you're at work or you're not allowed to be a part of this meeting for whatever reason, you can also ask your question here in the chat, and we would be more than happy to answer it. But I'm going to open it up to Q&A now, and feel free to ask any questions that you have. That's the whole purpose of this information session here, is to tell you about Offsite and then answer questions about your concerns or whatever you have in mind.
Hi, Hector. I, I just had a quick question regarding curriculum and projects. So my question is, what does a typical project look like from brief to final deliverable?
All right, so are you asking your question like a general question about a brief, or are you asking about how that works in Offsite?
Uh, Both actually.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. So I'd say I would want Dom just left. I would want Dom to answer the brief question, and I'm gonna ask Spencer if he can answer how he runs his class and how he introduces projects into his class.
No, sorry, I just dropped something on the ground there for a second. No, so a brief, I mean, typically speaking, a design brief is going to state whatever the issue is at hand. And it could be a wide range of things, something like, oh, there's something very specific. Like I've seen design briefs that are like, okay, we want a water bottle that can sanitize, I don't know, water and make it drinkable without having to use an external filtration process. That's something that's very, very specific and that's going to kind of like guide you. There's other briefs that are super open that are like, let's make a project which is going to net the company $1 million per year, which doesn't really mean anything, at least to designers. And so, regardless of what that does, is you have to take that question, that problem, basically begin research. And so you may say, okay, the brief is too big. We need to set some guardrails in order to basically narrow this thing down to make it something that's more approachable. In the case of the $1 million product, okay, I might say if I have to make a product that's going to earn a lot of money, what do I do? I want to look at the market and say, okay, what are some successful product categories? And you may say, okay, maybe it's something that is for the household. And in the household, what are things that are popular? What's trending? And so you begin diving in there and slowly narrowing your funnel. If it's super specific, like the water bottle, then maybe you're going to want to step in and see what are competitors doing. You want to talk to users and do research as to who's going to be using this water bottle, what are their specific needs, what's the exact market it's going to be used in. And then your job as a designer is to synthesize all that research, come up with ideas based on the research that talk back to that research. Um, and so you may say, okay, I'm making this water bottle for like hikers, people that are going to take from freshwater sources and like fill it from like streams. And you may want to think about, okay, the shape of the water bottle has to be used to drink from, but at the same time has to easily collect water from these sources. And so you see right there, we've taken like a very random idea, something that is for the thought exercise only, and then begin looking at constraints that are going to inform what the form of that product is. And then from there, the extra step that you don't do in university necessarily is see how to make that project actually marketable, and then how to make it actually feasible from like a manufacturing perspective. So like, for example, in my course, what we teach is specifically that. And so you're taking basically this brief, this open air, open-ended idea, and maneuvering it into a very tangible outcome, which is the product. Um, and so basically that's what we help you do here, is get you a bit closer to how can actually make this thing more realistic. And then having that ability to do so, possessing that knowledge, when you do a portfolio project, it's going to be a bit more thorough. And then you then use that to try and get a job or get clients or whatever your end goal is. And so really that's how we take the idea of a brief at Offsite in general, and then how you can take that and make it into something that becomes a portfolio piece for you. I hope that kind of answers the question.
Yes, thank you, Dom.
Cool.
Thank you, Dom. Spencer, how do you introduce a brief or a project in Offsite? Because it's completely different from, kind of a real world type brief.
Yeah, so I teach, why is that not working? Oh, wrong screen. There we go. I teach, let's see if this will update. Just a sec. Okay, there we go. See ourselves, yay. So I teach a couple different classes like Hector mentioned. One being um digital tools. So I teach Fusion, CAD modeling. And so my approach tends to be more conceptual with the use of the app. So of course you're learning, how to click around and do certain things, but there's important skills that I talk about, like analysis, for example. So we go through exercises like this where we take a product design and analyze it for its constituent parts. It's a skill that tends to be developed over time as a designer, but not necessarily something that you come out of school knowing how to do. So when I structure my projects, particularly in this class, I um, like to assign 3 levels of difficulty. Level 1 being, okay, do you understand the concept? Can you make it through the exercise? Level 2, let's push you a little bit further, have you do it on your own. And then level 3 is kind of the application of that skill, but also extension um, of that skill as you're applying it when you work. So it's not necessarily specific to a client in this case, but more so trying to get the students to grasp the concept, apply the concept, and then expand on that application and use their creativity. And some of you have probably seen this assignment, Jasmine, for example, has gone through digital tools, but one of the cool things we try to do, just want to mention this as well, is that every cohort, every group has a unique experience because we're always improving, changing things, and so forth. There's also, where is it? I think I clicked off of it. Hold on. Oh, please. There's another slide I was going to show you. All right, here we go. So in discourse, design discourse is the name of the class. It's kind of a weird one. Some people love it, some people don't, but it's okay. It's meant to foster discussion, prompt thought, consciousness around your practice of design, understanding your place in the world, and finding your voice as a designer. And so another example of an assignment or brief, if you will, that might be related to a topic. Here is an example of cause and effect. So students are encouraged to visit their local landfill, document, and then come back and share that experience, or other tasks like awareness about your relationship with technology. How does that make you feel? So it's a bit more on the qualitative side in terms of assessment and reflection for this particular class. And similar to the digital tools class, when I teach sketching, things tend to be more task oriented and skills based. So focusing on things like drills, workouts, the fundamentals, so that you can then build from there. So the skills based classes I do are less, I guess, related to your typical brief, but I do always encourage students to uh, combine tasks. So, for example, as Dom teaches DFM and Hector teaches sketching, when I teach digital tools, I encourage them to consider manufacturing aspects related to their product, pay attention to details, and we try to include the overlap so that there's not wasted effort on the students' parts. That's entirely up to you. However, we're not necessarily holding your hand through the project. You get as much out of this as you put in, and I'm sure the past participants can speak to this. I don't want to put them on blast or put a spotlight on them necessarily, but a couple of them here have definitely gone above and beyond, and those results are they're starting to see those results. I'll say that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Spencer and Tom. Really appreciate those answers. Let's turn things over to our alumni here, because
There's some questions in chat as well. Just
yes.
want to
Mhm.
mention it.
Yep, I do see questions coming in, and I would love Jasmine to answer one of these questions here. Um, Here's a question. Would love to meet you all, but currently at work. My question is, if I don't have an ID background, to what extent does offsite programs train and teach people? Are they best used to supplement other similar schooling and transition that knowledge into ID, or does it teach most things you'll need to know to become an industrial designer?
Yeah, I can go ahead and answer that as somebody who learned what ID was maybe 2 months before I started offsite. Um, I had started from the student program with just like sketching, digital tools, like a lot of the basics methods. And it was actually more as like an method to understand what industrial design was. I didn't have any expectations with it, but yeah, I think they just did such a good job of like really um, breaking down those fundamental skills into a very easy to follow methodical way where you can really scale up quickly. And so through that, I was just hooked and I kind of continued to take classes from that point on. And at the end of this, like 1.5 year period, I would say, I now have all the skills needed to start as an industrial designer. So, and I wouldn't say that's very common. You do have to go above and beyond. You have to supplement it with YouTube tutorials if you're stuck on something, because, like they say, it's not something where they hold your hand. Like they give you all the tools and all the information you need, and you have to really like work to make that a good foundation for you without school. It's definitely more helpful if you have school and you can level up, but without school, you can still do it. It's just a lot more work.
Thank you, Jasmine. And a very similar question here. Do I need technical knowledge to successfully go through this course? And I know that Spencer just answered it, but Jasmine, I know as someone who's coming from, engineering, how would you answer that?
Yeah, I didn't have like I think I learned sketching lines and ellipses with Hector. Like you could see if you look at my like first few classes, the homeworks and stuff like that, like I had never drawn an ellipse before in my life. Like it was all new for me. And so I think they do a good job of giving you what you need, and you don't have to come in with a particular set of skills.
And a lot of you are going to come from different disciplines, and we're not going to ask you to completely erase what you already know, but we are going to teach you new things, and we are going to ask you to be open and a little uncomfortable, because industrial design does require very specific technical skills. But yeah, thank you so much, Jasmine, for sharing sharing those answers and experiences here. I'm based in London. Let's see here. Have past students come from locations with such a time difference? Can it still work in your experience, or are there challenges to look out for? That is a great question. Again, a question that was asked, that was answered by Spencer Dam, as someone who's in Colombia. I'm sure there's offsite students there, and also as someone who has traveled to other parts of the world, what would be a good answer to supplement Spencer's answer here?
Yeah, I just did right there.
Oh,
I mean,
great.
we've had students come from literally everywhere, and they either, I mean, it's up to you, to the individual. So you can either change your schedule, obviously, like depends on if what you have going on in your life. If you can take a class at 3 a.m. and you're comfortable with that, that's great. If it's a class that you really want to take, then yes, you can do that. If it's a class where maybe it's not your priority, and we do say that students should prioritize, like, everyone has different interests as to what they want to gain out of the program. Um, you may choose to take certain classes live that fit with your schedule, or you may choose to just watch the recording. But it really comes down to you, what you're willing to do. And we have had a lot of students from Europe as well, so that change is not too crazy. And then Assad, I'm not sure exactly how you say your name, a different question up here as well, related, I think. To what extent can we develop practical experience of building prototypes when the courses are online? Um, Anytime there's anything that's hands-on, obviously we try to guide you through it, but it's going to come down to getting your own materials, supplying your own materials, and supplying basically your own time. So yes, it is something that's a little more difficult online, but at the same time, in a traditional university setting, oftentimes students are required to provide their own materials for prototyping. Whereas the guidance that comes from the instructor is the same whether in a university setting or online. So it's not super different. Obviously, we're not going to be there in front of you to like move things around, but we do our best through the camera and through meeting with you to try and provide a very similar experience. In my class, for example, we take stuff apart, and that's something that you will do yourself, but it's something that we do separately and then come together and talk about thereafter.
And to supplement the answer that Spencer posted here about the prototyping, we, like he said, we used to have a prototyping class. Actually, Spencer used to teach it. And to be honest, there's a lot of things that we do at Offsite. We prototype a lot of the courses. We offer a lot of courses, and sometimes we figure out that it was harder than we thought, that it didn't work out. And some courses, you know, turn out to be fantastic, and we keep them. But that prototype course was one that we just could not. It's tough. It's really tough to just have, to do prototyping virtually. And so, yeah, at the end, we didn't offer it again. But what we emphasize here at Offsite, a lot of things that we teach are things that can be done virtually. So prototyping, it's still something that, we can teach you for sure, but it is a very hands-on activity that you need to also build on your own for sure. And we can recommend a lot of resources when it comes to that. But yeah.
I would also like to jump in on that because I think you can take a lot of the classes, like the projects that you learn in class, and just kind of run with them on your own as well. And so that's what I did for like Sketcher or for Hector's sketching course. There was a like project on shampoo bottles that we were doing for sketching specifically, but after the class was over, I like was able to 3D print a lot of them and kind of like continue that project on my own. And so prototyping is something that I've actually found if you just start trying it, like if you Google it and try it, like a lot of them are definitely doable on your own. Foam like modeling is the one that I haven't done, but not a lot of studios like still do that today anyways. So they mainly look for like foam board or 3D printing, which you can easily do on your own.
All right, let's see. Thank you, Jasmine. Let's see what other questions we have here. Um, yeah, we have a question here about a Keyshot license. So Keyshot only offers those license for our students who are in the workflow course, which is part of Offsite Pro. Um, and you have to be part of that class, unfortunately, because that class will teach you how to use Keyshot as a tool for visualization. And if you're not in that class, like for example, if you're in the digital tools class, that's more of an introduction to CAD and how to use Fusion 360. So obviously we don't use Keyshot there, so there's no need for us to offer Keyshot in that class because the focus is for you to really get comfortable and get good at using Fusion. Now I know that Spencer, and again he answered it here. I know that Spencer in that class he uses Fusion, and then towards the end of the class you also start teaching students how to use the Fusion rendering software that they offer. So that is a great start, and that's a good way to get started understanding visualization, and that should help you, move on to workflow in the coming months if you decide to be a part of it. But if you're in the offsite student tier, we'll get you started with digital tools because that is introduction to industrial design, and that workflow course is just way too advanced for someone who does not have any experience in CAD. So just to kind of answer that question there. And I'm just kind of making sure we answered all the questions here. And if there's any other questions, again, just unmute yourself or.
There was one, it's a kind of a big question. What tools will you be teaching in the course? So kind of cutting across all classes. I'm not sure if that's the pro or student or how to necessarily answer that.
Let's start with the student one. So in the offsite student, there are 4 courses, and offsite student is for people who are coming in with zero industrial design experience. Maybe you're pivoting into industrial design, maybe you're interested. Maybe you're an engineer and you want to be the best engineer possible because you want to take, you want to know about industrial design so you can speak our language. So you're coming into offsite specifically to learn about industrial design. That's what offsite student is, and those 4 courses are designed. They're designed for someone like you who's going to help you learn about industrial design. The 4 courses are sketching, discourse, digital tools, and methods. In my sketching class, you can have experience in sketching or even in drawing if you've taken an art class before, but I am going to teach it like you know nothing about sketching, and we're all going to start at the same, with a clean slate. And for the first month, I teach you the basic foundations of building shapes, sketching shapes, getting confident with lines and perspective. And then after that, I start to give you little exercises that prove to me that you understand the work that I'm teaching you, the content. And then at the end, we have a project, and we spend about 3 weeks on that, and then you present it to the class. But in that specific sketching class, I will teach you how to sketch, how to communicate using sketching, how to build confidence, and I will teach you how to do it with a very basic pen and paper. And then as we build through the 10 weeks, then I'll start to add other tools. Like there's been times where I've taught digital sketching for those who are interested, and students who are comfortable with an iPad start to use it, etc. So things like that. So in my sketching course, it is very straightforward. You don't need to spend a lot of money to know how to communicate and how to sketch. It's a simple pen and paper. And then later I'll introduce you to all the awesome other alternatives that exist in sketching if for those who are very interested and really want skin in the game and want to continue. So that's sketching. In the methods class, that class is all about problem solving. And in that course, the instructor is going to teach you different design methodologies so that you can solve problems in design. And there's hundreds of different design methods, but this instructor does a really good job at breaking them down. And you do a lot of group activities with your classmates, and you use a digital whiteboard like Miro or Figma to do that. And then you do a lot of case studies. So that's another really good course. I think that is really key for for those who are interested in knowing how to navigate problem solving and design thinking in industrial design. So that's what design methods does. And then the digital tools and then the discourse courses are taught by Spencer, and he kind of went over them when we first started answering questions. But those are also key to having a really good foundation in industrial design. If I were to just describe them in with one sentence, I would say discourse is like philosophy of design, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Spencer, right? It's like very much like, why are you designing? Why do we do this? I think it's a course that is, um, that type of course is not taught in traditional academia, and it is so overlooked. And so we're really excited to teach it to all of our students. And then digital tools is our intro to CAD, which is a tool that all industrial designers should get really comfortable with. And so Spencer teaches you how to use Fusion 360, which is a cloud-based program, a cloud-based CAD program that is designed by Autodesk. So those are the 4 courses in Offsite Student, and then in Offsite Pro, all the courses, I think there's 6 of them. They're all advanced courses, and those are for people who already have an industrial design background. And those courses are designed to take what you already know and elevate your knowledge and help you, if you have a very specific goal, we'll help you achieve that as best as we can. And then in Offsite Pro, we also have a mentorship program where we connect you with a mentor from industry for the 10 weeks, and you get to meet with them, build a relationship with them, and they get to help you navigate through whatever you're trying to do. So that is part of our Offsite Pro package. Hopefully that I was able to answer that
Hector,
question.
sorry to interrupt. I just had a quick question.
Mhm.
I was wondering if I'll be able to take up the pro after I finish the student course.
Yeah, that is a great question. I would want Jasmine again to kind of answer that because Jasmine, correct me if I'm wrong, like you did you immediately take pro after student or did you kind of take a couple
I did.
courses to build up?
Yeah, I don't think I ever followed exactly what the things were. I just like learned what I thought I needed next. And so
Mhm.
I would say like before you go from student to pro, it'd be helpful to do like one studio project to actually kind of like see something from the start to the beginning. And then when you're applying it in the pro, you kind of understand like why you're applying each skill that you're learning there. And so the way I did that was through Portfolio Bootcamp, which you're actually like supposed to already complete your project, and then Portfolio Bootcamp helps you communicate it in your portfolio. But because it was my first studio project, I was having trouble understanding what I was even supposed to do. So I used that class to kind of guide me on how to navigate my first studio project. There's also other things that are offered, but they're not offered consistently. So if you have the chance of taking there's like a studio project on tech products, feature form, and then there's also like Rebecca teaches a CMF studio project. Those might also help you kind of just understand the process of designing before you jump into pro and really level up your skills. And so, if I were to recommend going from student to where I am, I would say to take like supplemental courses in between. And also, I did take sketching 2 in between as well to kind of like improve just like some of those foundational courses to get to a more advanced level. And I would also suggest like digital tools, like having more time to kind of develop those skills, because in the pro program, the workflow class, it teaches you Keyshot, but it also you have like you're going through the process of building a product, and you use a lot of modeling in that class as well. And so it's good to feel confident in those skills before you jump into that.
Jasmine, how important it is to do like a self-assessment of like yourself before, right? Because everything you want to do, you want to make sure it's intentional and you you think it through, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty important because one of the things that I found most valuable in these courses were the feedback from professionals, and that feedback can really like navigate you to the right direction quickly, which is something that I think is so valuable because when you're doing a lot of these things alone, like you don't really know which direction will be the best for your career, but because these people work in the industry, they can really help you kind of pinpoint that early. And so you want to be at a level where you feel prepared to show your work and really get that direction. Because if you're kind of there too early, sometimes like for the workflow class example, we were supposed to fit a brand's product design language, and I was trying to get feedback on like if my model that I had made like actually fit that brand language. But the issue was that my skills in surfacing were not really at the level that I could execute that product language properly. And so all the feedback was just on my surfacing, like you didn't meet the surfacing skills needed to actually execute this. And so instead of learning like how can I fit brand product language, I learned like I need to spend more time on surfacing skills. And so if you get there a little early, it sometimes you don't learn what you were intended to learn, and so you can miss out on that.
Yeah, I think it's really important for you to have a conversation with us before you jump into immediately into pro. We offer Offsite Plus, which is our a la carte tier, and that means you can take any course from our catalog. And so, like Jasmine, we would recommend um, you having a conversation with us and determining, okay, if I want to work towards taking Offsite Pro, what are some courses that are going to get me there? And sometimes taking one or two courses is a good start before taking the more advanced course because it's a lot of classes and it's a lot more demanding. The expectations are a little higher, and what we don't want is you falling behind, right? We don't want you falling behind or being confused, or we want to make sure that your investment is good investment, and so it might require you to take a couple of courses to get towards Offset Pro. We have another question here in the chat. If I'm starting out and pivoting into IDs, it better do one or two courses. When are these courses offered repeat in the future? So I know that the instructors here are answering those questions. Really appreciate that. If you're pivoting, or just generally, if you are interested in Offsite Student or Pro, and if you have the time, I would recommend taking the Offsite Student or Offsite Pro as a package because it is going to be a lot more just affordable as far as pricing goes because it's kind of packaged as a bundle. If you have the time, let's say you're a working professional or you have other things going on, I would recommend just taking one or two classes and really prioritizing those one or two classes and selecting the class that really fits what you're trying to accomplish, what kind of skill you're trying to elevate, where you want to work on. And that requires you to have a conversation. Like if you want to have a conversation with us, if you want to reach out to us and we can go over your background or your portfolio, and we can then recommend, okay, according to what you're telling me, these are the two courses that I would prioritize right now, and then make a plan for future courses. We offer the full Offsite Student and Offsite Pro in the spring and the summer, and then we offer a smaller selection of courses in the fall. So in the spring and the summer, they are repeated, but in the fall, we offer just a tiny, small amount of number of courses. Here's a question. Does Offsite cater towards certain fields in ID, or is it relatively broad fundamental knowledge? That is a great question. Our education program is general industrial design. We do offer some courses that cater towards adjacent fields like CMF. During this spring cohort, we're offering a toy design course. And I know we have some things in the future. One of our instructors, um, was a footwear designer and probably footwear designer by heart, but he's, is something we're like I said before, we're always experimenting with new courses and prototyping new courses. But as of right now, CMF and then the course that we're offering right now on toys, that's the kind of the two courses that we have in regards to adjacent industrial design fields. And I don't know if anyone else has any other questions. I did put my email down here. Feel free to reach out and set up a one-on-one conversation. We are closing applications by the end of this week. Reach out. I know a lot of you might have very specific circumstances that has to do with life, work, time, like your location. Just reach out because my favorite part of the job here is to talk to you and figure out what is the best way that we can work with you and we can cater our programming that works for your schedule and for your needs. And before we take off, I'm going to ask one of our other alumni, Julie here, to kind of talk a little bit about our experience team, which is something that I talked about briefly in the presentation, but she's a part of the experience team, and I just want her to share a little bit about why it's important that we have an experience team, and how it helps our students.
Yeah. So the experience team is designed to be there for the students to help you in any way possible. It's kind of a unique thing that you don't necessarily have it like in university setting. We can kind of go directly to like the people running the program and give like your thoughts on it. And we also work really hard to build the community. I think that's a really important part of experience and of offsite in general. So we try to host different events and studio sessions to kind of get to know everyone. It's kind of hard now with like 900 plus people, but we try our best. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being in school and you have great idea for the school and or you're just like concerned or pissed off about something and you're like, I need to talk to the provost, right? That is easier said than done. This is why we create the experience team. Again, our job is to listen to our students and to give you a voice to make our programming better. And in 5 years, our program is the way it is because of the help of our students. So that pretty much wraps up today's information session. Again, my email's here in the chat. Feel free to reach out. Thank you so much, instructors and alumni, for taking some time out of your busy schedules to be here with us. This has been recorded, and this will go out to everybody who signed up. Any final thoughts from anybody? Nope, just blessings. Thank you all so much. Have a
Thank you,
wonderful
Hector.
Monday, and we will be in touch very soon. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. It was nice meeting everyone.
Likewise, see you all very soon.